Hello, my name is Melanie Wesley, and welcome to the Salon Social Podcast. This is the Client's Corner. In this series, we dive deep into the candid conversations with clients to empower beauty professionals to elevate their services and create unforgettable client experiences. In the beauty industry, a customer's perception is our reality, and who better to share their insights than the clients themselves? Our mission here is to shine a light on what clients truly value, equipping you with the knowledge to enhance your offerings and positively impact your bottom line. Together, we'll help beauty professionals unlock their full potential, one transformative experience at a time. Get ready to listen, learn, and elevate your craft. Thank you for lending me your ear. Until next time, be good, be true, be you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hello, my name is Melanie Wesley, and welcome to the Salon Social Podcast. As promised, in this series, we're going to be talking to clients to get their full perspective on what it means to them to have a great experience in the salon industry. I think it's really important to include clients in this conversation so we can kind of get it from the horse's mouth, figure out exactly what they want. So as stylists, we can then go ahead and improve our services to better service our clients. So today we are joined by Jason. Jason, thank you so much for coming on and being a part of this conversation. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much, Jason. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, and it's not a problem to be here. I know we've kind of talked ad nauseum about many of these topics in general,
Yes.
just during, our actual meetings for the services you provide, and thought it'd be good to actually provide some feedback from, how I'm feeling in just different areas.
Yeah.
We'll get into this a little bit later, but
Yeah.
depending on the industry you're in, the scope, the size, you know,
Yes.
the impact of customer service can vary quite a bit. So.
Yes. I mean, and honestly, yes. And like you said, this transcends through all different kinds of, careers and businesses and fields. I think this conversation is necessary.
Yes.
whatever field you're in. But I mean, when it comes to like the beauty industry,
Mhm.
what are some experiences that you've had that you can say weren't all that you can think of, maybe that could have been better? I
Yeah.
know, I know you got a lot of stories going to the barbershop, but I'm not. But if you can think of anything that
Like,
use some improvement.
yeah, so here is it's kind of interesting, because in my opinion, like I haven't had a ton of like experience that have been like outright negative,
Mhm.
but one of the things that I have been able to always pick up on is that there's always a certain kind of mindset when it comes to with that kind of industry. And
Mhm.
what I mean by that, and it's not just it's pretty much all like a lot of areas like within that space, right? And what I mean by that is there's not like a lot of effort that's put in to elevate your experience. You're pretty much like a means to an end whenever you come in to kind of interface with individuals that are doing anything along the lines of beauty and hair care.
Mhm.
And I think that's perfectly fine in a lot of spaces. But I also think that it's become like acceptable,
Yes.
if that makes sense.
Yes.
Um, and one of the reasons why I feel that might be the case is just kind of like what customer service means to individuals that are kind of going into that space.
Yeah.
Like if you really think about it, the first time that you're introduced to customer service, I think the vast majority of individuals is probably like their first job, right?
Right.
They're going to be between ages of 16 and whomever. Some component of their job is going to be customer service centric in some way.
Absolutely.
And at that time, you're going into that position to make money,
Yeah.
and you subconsciously it's become a means to an end for you,
Right. Right.
right?
Yeah.
Providing good customer service has now become a priority.
Yeah.
And I think over time, that's effectively what happens when you go into some of these areas where, you know, you're there for a service, you pay for the service, you get in and out. And again, there's nothing there to elevate or make it more memorable in
Mhm.
that regard.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what you commonly come to see. So again, it's not bad for me,
Right.
but it's more so just it's always going to be typically middle of the road unless you actually start to like work with people that really put
Take
like
it.
a vested interest in that, you know?
Right. And that's so unfortunate. That's such a good point that you bring up when you said it's like a mindset, because
Hmm.
that is kind of what it is. It's like it's become so normalized that people don't even think about, kind of just taking the extra mile to make it better for folks, because everybody's just so used to it and people have just accepted it for so long. But that is terrible. That the beauty industry has fallen into that trap, because
Hmm.
I mean, you can really, if it really kind of change our perspective, change our mindset, and then
Hmm.
really focus, like you said, we're here to serve, but really focus on the client, really focus on the service that we're providing, and just do simple things. It doesn't even have to be like this extravagant makeover, but it just could be simple things, paying closer attention to the client's needs, being more in tune with what it is that they want, just, having a comfortable space for them to, be able to just relax and unwind. Because a lot of times, maybe not so much with barbering, but you spend a significant amount of time in there, and then
Hmm.
with the barbers, you see them more often, so you go,
Yeah.
you go more often. So it's like, if we were just kind of shift our mindset a little bit and really kind of have it focused on the client and the service and just elevate that, I think we
Hmm.
will just, I mean, you'll see your business explode.
Absolutely.
I think, because that is the that is the um that is the foundation for growing a long-term, like, successful business, is
Hmm.
building your relationship with your client, and just elevating the experience that the client, you know experiences when they're there with
Yeah,
you. So,
I
like,
agree. 100%.
yeah, simple. I mean, lucky you haven't really had any bad experiences. um
Not that I can recall, but I'm pretty tolerant in a lot of ways. Like,
Yeah, and I think, it probably kind of goes to your personality too. And sometimes, men just generally will, like, kind of let things just slide off their back. They'll get it. They'll
yes,
go to the barber shop, and then they'll be like, trash piled up on the side and like hair all over the place. And it's like, whatever, man, just give me a haircut. I'm good.
it's true. It's very true.
But but those barbers or those shops or those salons that, take it to the next level, they stand out. They stand
Hmm.
out from the rest. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
you see that when, and you can see that in their books, you can see that in their numbers, you can see that in their, their how busy they are. You can
Hmm.
see the difference when they really kind of just take the time and do simple things
Hmm.
to kind of elevate the experience for their clients.
Yeah.
So just, based on what you talked about, when it
Hmm.
comes to like mindset and
Hmm.
kind of just, normalizing this
Hmm.
level of experience for people, what do
Right.
you suggest that, maybe they can do to kind of bring more value
Yeah.
to the service?
Like I think, I mean, again, it's gonna first start with changing the mindset that we mentioned in terms of the fact that doing kind of their bare minimum and what's acceptable to kind of like drive the success of your service supposedly, you need to kind of increase that, right? And like just to give like examples of that, and it's just that anyone can probably relate to, is just in general the way that everyone just kind of approaches things these days is by experience, right? It's not necessarily about the pure service that you're after. The reason why social media has become as much of a springboard is because you can legitimately see the elevated experiences that other people actually have and go through, and then other people want to share in that
Yes.
trend, and they want to share in how that feels and how that looks, right? Having something within any business, it doesn't matter what it is and at what level, as long as you have something that is going to stand out in that
Right.
regard, all it takes is one experience that somebody has that's just slightly better than
Yeah.
something else,
I
regardless
know
of
the
what it
bar is
is.
set low. The bar is not.
Exactly. So I mean, it could be some level of aromatherapy, it could be a scalp massage, it
Yeah.
could be just anything that just makes the experience a bit more memorable.
Yeah.
And typically, you're going to, people are going to remember that, and that's
Yeah.
what's going to set you out.
Absolutely.
apart from your peers in that
Yeah,
regard. And again, that's just it's so important at every level of any business, right? When you're going to like a nice restaurant, a lot of people are paying for the experiences that restaurant gives you, right? They're paying
absolutely.
for the ambiance and the feel of it versus going to something that's supposedly like more acceptable and more normal in that
Yeah,
regards,
yeah, yeah. I
whether
get it.
you're, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I didn't mean to stop you, to interrupt you. Please
Mhm.
finish your thought.
And I was gonna say, if you were to take it like a step further and you really start to really increase and escalate like the level of impact that customer service will effectively have. I mean, you have food, you have hospitality, and then you come into like my industry where you have like software implementation, and
Hmm.
those are really big like projects and contracts that can get upwards of like seven figures, right?
Yeah,
And then you don't necessarily have customer service in that regard. You have entire branches of an organization that are tied to what's called customer success
exactly.
because treating those customers right and
Yes,
treating those individuals like the way they should be, giving them the
right.
right attention, the right care, like that's ultimately what ends up, at least with sale, a big sale,
For sure.
right? So
Absolutely.
you can never underestimate like how impactful relationship building and customer service should always be.
Yes, you have said a mouthful, and that is
Mhm.
so true. Because at the end of the day, customer success, customer experience, customer service, like the
Mhm.
customer is central to all of this. Like there is no business without the customer. So that should always be your focus on trying
Agree.
to, bring the best experience to that customer. So again, like in your case, it translates into sales.
Hmm.
Same with the beauty industry. You translate into clients coming back and
Hmm.
referrals and retention. And
Hmm.
that is what grows a business successfully and creates longevity. So like those are great, absolutely great points that you bring up. And again, it transcends through all industries. But just kind of I think part of the reason why I wanted to start this podcast is because I saw the trend going downwards. It was going in the opposite direction and it had just become
Hmm.
so bad and it became normalized. Like people were just like, "Oh, well, that's just how it is." And you can have the talent, but if you don't provide if all of the other pieces don't fit into the puzzle,
Hmm.
then you're not going to stand out. You're not going to be as successful as you could be. So like talent is like one thing. Like you can be the bomb software engineer and all this thing, but if you can't sell your software, then who's gonna buy it? If you can't,
Agreed.
if you can't sell, the restaurant, then who's coming in to eat? If you can't
Hmm.
sell a service, then who's coming to pay for it? No one. So like, it's important to kind of just remember who we're servicing and that we are in the service industry. And
Hmm.
so like starting with that, leading with that, and then everything else kind of falling into place. Just something as simple like you said, aromatherapy. I'm huge on nice scents and a
Hmm.
space feeling bright and airy and
Hmm.
relaxing. Like I'm all about that. So like all of those things add up to a successful business.
I agree.
So,
Yes.
you mentioned the word restaurant and like people
Hmm.
pay for an ambiance because I can be
Hmm.
super bougie about restaurants. Like I can have like there could be somebody could tell there could be like a bomb barbecue spot, but
Hmm.
if it's like in a little rib shack on the corner of
Hmm.
the I'm not going in there. I don't care how good the food
Yes.
is. It just looks it's like a perception, right? It
For
looks
sure.
as if
Hmm.
it's not clean. Their
Hmm.
kitchen might be dirty. They might not take, cleanliness seriously or whatever. But like you
Yes. Yes.
take that same food and you put it in a nicer restaurant,
Hmm.
in a with a rooftop or whatever. Now all of a sudden you can double
Yeah.
the prices and then people are gonna come. You know what I mean? It's
It's true. It is 100% true. You
so
know.
so I mean with that, like would you pay for more money for a better experience?
I was just at Nobu last week, so that should pretty much tell you my thought process on that. But I will absolutely pay more for a better experience. Just because, I mean, that's what it comes down to. Like when you're going out to eat at a restaurant, yes, you're going there to eat, but you're also going there to have like a pseudo private experience of those that you're going there to eat with. And of course, I mean, you want to enjoy yourself, right? If you're
Yeah.
going to an area that doesn't have good acoustics or some area that's going to be very difficult to like have a conversation with those you're going with, then it's going to take away from that experience, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And I like to cook myself, so I go to restaurants that are going to prepare things that I don't normally cook myself and going to
Mhm.
have the ingredients I normally can't procure. So, yeah, I'm going to go to a nice restaurant and I'm going to, pay a little bit more for other ingredients and pay for more for cocktails I can't make myself at home.
Yeah,
That's just my general way of thinking about it.
right.
Yeah, maybe age plays like a big role in what you're what you're willing to do and what you're willing to pay for. And then
Right, right, right.
from that perspective, I can't imagine that I would be willing to pay more for the same food if I was, in my late teens, early 20s.
Right, right.
But
I get it. I get it.
maybe that's a factor. But for me, for sure, I'm
Yeah, I mean,
definitely
you're a
gonna pay
little
more.
more tolerable,
Hmm.
accepting those things because your pocket, you can't afford the fine dining maybe at
Hmm.
that point, but
Hmm.
still, there's all levels, right? Like there's
For sure.
different levels. You know what I'm saying? Like you got your
Hmm.
McDonald's and you got your like Applebee's and then you got
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? So choose whichever experience is best for you.
Yeah, I could definitely say consistently, I probably still paid more relative to what my current tax bracket was at that point in time, if that makes sense.
Well, you got,
So,
you have expensive taste, I'm sure. I mean, and it's not even
unfortunately.
expensive taste. It's like
Mm,
again, you want a certain experience
mm,
and you're willing to pay for it, even though it may cost a little bit more because
exactly. You know.
so that's what's up. I mean, that again, that is the reason why I wanted to start this conversation. And I think it's really important to
Mm,
include those people who are spending their money and their time and get an understanding of what it is that they're looking for,
mm,
so that ultimately anyone who's coming into this industry or any kind of customer service industry where you're servicing people,
mm,
like it's important to create that curate that experience for people so that you can, for one, bring them back because
mm.
I'm not coming back to your restaurant or your salon if you know what I'm saying, if it's
Yes.
just not up to par. And
Mm,
everyone has their level of tolerance, but like at the end of the day, you still are I'm paying you for a service and you're
mm.
providing me a service. So
Right.
it seems like it's been kind of flipped where it's like the stylist acts or the person who's providing the service acts as if you're doing them a favor.
Right.
And,
Yes. Yes.
and I mean, let's just keep it real. Like we're in Atlanta, like stylists, barbers are a dime a dozen. Restaurants,
Hmm.
I mean, this is a foodie city. Like
Hmm.
you can find a nice restaurant anywhere you look, whatever
Hmm.
cuisine you want. So it's
Yeah.
like standing out from the rest, being able to, like you said, give them a memorable experience,
Hmm.
so that when they leave, they can now go tell everyone about you, and they can
Hmm.
come back time and time again, and then pay more, and you know, and that's what you want. That
Yeah.
is
And it
that.
doesn't even have to be a lot. Like, spotlight one specific thing that you do better than everyone else,
Yeah,
right? Because in most cases, if you look at, just going off of restaurants for an example,
yeah,
they will typically spotlight one specific thing that looks way better than what anyone else is providing or different than what anyone else is providing. They'll take advantage of some level of social media, which everyone should do because it's basically free marketing at this point that everyone
right.
can leverage. And everyone sees that one thing. Everybody wants to see what that one thing is about, you know?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
whatever it is you're doing in your business, like just make it be something like that. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but it's just something that looks very enticing. The way that I look at it is going to like whether I'm getting my hair cut or my hair done, it's still treated as like relaxation and personal time in my
Right,
eyes. And
right.
I think if people adapted that mindset of actually like making this like a release for your customers and your clients, I mean, I feel like that mindset alone would be beneficial.
That's so true. That's very true. Like it's a form of self care,
Hmm.
right? So kind of approaching it from that way and just I know that's a great point that you bring up, Jason. It is that personal time. So like
Hmm.
catering to them during that time. They're not there for long, but just sometimes it's a little bit longer than but it's still just a little bit of time. Just make
Hmm.
sure that you cater to that person while they're there. and give them the
Hmm.
best possible experience they can have, so they can go tell other people about you. That's how you grow. Um,
Exactly.
and the opposite is true. If it's a bad experience,
Yes.
like they say, bad news travels faster than good
It
news.
will. It
That
will.
is a sure way for
Yes.
you to shorten your career,
Hmm.
or, kind of, hit a plateau, faster than you want, because you may be able to, grow a little bit and get people to come in, but it's not sustainable. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Long term. And so if you're looking to, anyone looking to like stay in whatever industry that they're in for a
Hmm.
long time, like, and it's centrally focused on customers, then you want to make sure that that experience is up to par
Yes.
and set apart from other people. So
That's what you
this
should be
is
worried about. Like the world is too small nowadays, where information travels quickly. So if you if you don't diversify and you don't have a good experience, and people will know about it, just like you said.
oh
Again, double
yeah,
it's a double-edged sword, right?
it sure is. It sure is. I have done it myself where I've had a bad experience with a company, and I have voiced that opinion on social media,
Hmm.
and the internet went in on them on
Hmm.
that person,
That's how
and
it goes.
ultimately they had to come back to me and address the problem,
Hmm.
because, like I said, in the you don't want to create a bad rep for yourself, because that will hit your bottom line,
Hmm.
like, immediately. You'll see it. And like, same with good experiences. So you want people to talk about you in a positive way, and
Hmm.
so it is important to just make sure that's the focus, and always the focus.
Agree.
So,
Yes.
but this was
Mm.
such an awesome conversation, Jason. You
Oh,
definitely
likewise.
um gave me a different perspective as far as like the mindset shift. I love that.
Hmm.
And I think whoever's watching that is entering into this business, or any business that is, focused on clients, this is a great conversation for them to take information from, because that's what you want to do. Like, just focus on those people, focus on that experience, and you're going to be successful. So I appreciate you taking the time out your morning,
No
and
worries.
say hi to the fam for me.
Will. Thank you. Thank
Until
you.
until next time, I
Till
appreciate
next time.
it much. All right,
No
Jason.
worries. Thanks, Mel. Bye bye.
Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.